Picture this. It's September 15th, 1940, and my grandfather is standing on a rooftop in London, watching Spitfires dance with Messerschmitts in the sky above. He used to tell me that air defense back then was like playing chess with death. You had to think 3 moves ahead, or your city would burn. Today, 84 years later, that same deadly chess game is being played at hypersonic speeds, with weapons that would seem like magic to those Battle of Britain pilots. But here's what would terrify my grandfather. The pieces on the board have changed completely, and the rules of the game are being rewritten in real time. From Israel's Iron Dome stopping rockets mid-flight to America's newest laser systems that can burn drones out of the sky, we're living through the greatest revolution in air defense since radar was invented. But the question that keeps every defense minister awake at night is simple. Are we building shields fast enough to stop the swords? Let me tell you a story that perfectly captures how air defense has evolved. During World War II, it took an average of 2,500 anti-aircraft shells to bring down a single enemy bomber. Think about that. 2,500 rounds of ammunition, fired by dozens of guns, just to stop one aircraft. It was like trying to swat flies with a sledgehammer while blindfolded. My uncle served on a British anti-aircraft battery, and he described it like this. We'd fill the sky with so much steel that eventually something had to hit. It was volume of fire, not precision. A strategy born of desperation and limited by the technology of the time. Fast forward to today, and Israel's Iron Dome can track a rocket the size of a telephone pole, calculate its trajectory in milliseconds, and intercept it with surgical precision. It's the difference between a medieval knight swinging a broadsword and a modern surgeon using a laser scalpel. But here's what most people don't realize. That evolution from 2,500 shells to one precise interceptor didn't happen overnight. It took decades of brilliant engineering, countless failures, and lessons written in blood. And the story of how we got here reveals something crucial about where we're going. The first real breakthrough came from a discovery that sounds almost accidental. In 1935, a British scientist named Robert Watson Watt was trying to develop a death ray. Seriously, that's what they called it. When he realized something profound. Instead of trying to destroy aircraft with radio waves, why not use those waves to see them coming? It was like the moment Archimedes shouted Eureka in his bathtub. Watson Watt had just invented radar, and suddenly, air defense wasn't about blindly firing into the sky anymore. It was about seeing your enemy before he could see you. My father, who worked on early radar systems during the Cold War, used to explain it like this. Before radar, defending against air attack was like being a blind boxer. You could throw punches, but you never knew where your opponent was. Radar gave us eyes. But even the most advanced radar systems of the 1960s and 70s had a fundamental limitation. They could see the threat coming, but they still needed human operators to make split-second decisions. In a world where missiles travel at 3 times the speed of sound, human reaction time became the weakest link in the chain. And that's when military engineers realized they needed to remove humans from the equation entirely. The machines would have to learn to think faster than any human ever could. Here's where our story takes a fascinating turn into what I call the automation revolution. In 1973, during the Yom Kippur War, Israeli air defenses were overwhelmed by Egyptian surface-to-air missiles. The human operators simply couldn't process information fast enough to respond to coordinated attacks. That failure led to a breakthrough that would change everything: the development of automated air defense systems. Think of it like the difference between a human chess player and Deep Blue, the computer that beat world champion Garry Kasparov. Humans are creative and intuitive, but computers are relentlessly logical and impossibly fast. The Patriot missile system, first deployed in the 1980s, was like giving air defense commanders a crystal ball. The system could track dozens of targets simultaneously, calculate intercept courses in milliseconds, and fire interceptors without any human intervention. It was the first time in history that machines were making life and death decisions faster than humans could even comprehend the threat. But here's what the engineers discovered. Making computers think like fighter pilots was only half the battle. The real challenge was teaching them to think like chess grandmasters, to anticipate not just where the enemy was, but where they were going to be. And that's when they realized they needed something even more revolutionary. Systems that could learn from every attack, adapt to new threats, and share that knowledge instantly across entire networks of defenders. Imagine if every air defense system in the world was connected like neurons in a giant brain. When one system learns something new about a threat, every other system instantly knows it too. That's not science fiction. That's exactly what modern air defense networks are becoming. The story of how this happened is fascinating. During the Gulf War in 1991, American commanders realized that their various air defense systems, Patriot batteries, AWACS aircraft, fighter jets, were all operating like isolated islands. Each system was incredibly sophisticated, but they weren't talking to each other effectively. A retired Air Force general once described it to me like this: "We had the world's best orchestra, but every musician was playing from a different sheet of music. The individual performances were brilliant, but the symphony was chaos." That led to the development of what military planners call integrated air defense systems, networks where every radar, every missile battery, every fighter aircraft shares information in real time. It's like having 1,000 pairs of eyes all connected to one incredibly fast brain. Israel's Iron Dome is probably the best example of this philosophy in action. It's not just one system. It's a network of radars, interceptors, and command centers that work together like a perfectly choreographed dance. When a rocket is fired from Gaza, the system doesn't just track that one threat. It instantly calculates how to defend against the next 10 rockets that might follow. But even these incredible networks face a new challenge. That would have been unimaginable to those World War II gunners. Swarm attacks that can overwhelm any defense through sheer numbers. Here's where our story reaches its most critical chapter. Remember those 2,500 anti-aircraft shells needed to stop one bomber in World War II? Today's military planners are facing the opposite problem. How do you stop 2,500 small, cheap drones with expensive interceptor missiles? The mathematics are terrifying. A single Iron Dome interceptor costs about $50,000. A basic attack drone can be built for $500. That's a cost ratio of 100 to 1 in favor of the attacker. It's like trying to defend a castle by throwing gold coins at the enemy. You'll run out of money long before they run out of arrows. This is what defense analysts call the swarm problem, and it's keeping generals awake at night around the world. Iran has already demonstrated drone swarms with hundreds of units. China is developing autonomous swarms that can coordinate attacks without any human control. The age of the single, expensive superweapon is giving way to the era of cheap, expendable swarms. But here's where human ingenuity shines brightest. Instead of trying to build bigger, more expensive interceptors, engineers are developing entirely new approaches. Microwave systems that can disable entire swarms simultaneously. Even AI-controlled defensive drones that can hunt attacking swarms like aerial guard dogs. The most promising development might be what I call the democratization of defense. Just as personal computers made computing power available to everyone, new technologies are making sophisticated air defense capabilities available to smaller nations and even individual military units. Speaking of staying ahead, next week I'm diving into another technological arms race that's reshaping modern warfare. Italy's revolutionary AW249 helicopter versus America's legendary Apache Guardian. It's the same story of innovation challenging tradition, but this time with rotors instead of missiles. If you want to understand how military technology is evolving to meet tomorrow's threats, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. The AW249 versus Apache breakdown drops next Tuesday, and trust me, what Italy has accomplished will change how you think about helicopter warfare forever. Which air defense system would you want protecting your hometown? The proven reliability of Patriot missiles, or the cutting-edge promise of laser weapons? Let me know in the comments below.